Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. Register your team, get into some tournaments. Going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great summer. Spring, summer, actually. We're going to be out at a lot of events. It's what's really been a great catalyst for our winter workout tour. Hope you're following it. If you like what we're doing, take a moment. Please hit the subscribe button. Hit that dinger next to it. Because, you know, chicks dig the long ball. Right, Derrick?
Of course.
And that will get you notifications for upcoming episodes such as this. And tonight, we have a player spotlight with this fine gentleman from Christian Brothers College H.S, Derrick Pitts. Derrick, thanks for joining the show, buddy.
Of course. I'm excited. Ready to get into it.
I'd heard your name around before. From youth baseball, but last year we got out to C.B.C. You guys were playing Jackson High School, and you stood out to me. You playing center field out there. I thought you played a heck of a ball game. Heck, how could you not? You know, you got all those scouts out there, right?
Yes, sir. It was a little intimidating in the beginning of the season, but as it goes on, more and more start to show up, and you kind of embrace it almost. It's kind of like, okay, now it's time to ball out. So
it did it at the beginning. It made you a bit nervous.
Yeah, of course. I had never played in front of that many scouts before. You know, this is my first real full year on varsity, coming back from injury, so it was kind of intimidating. You know, but at the end of the day, you can't play scared. So I had to rise to the occasion.
There you go. I like that. Can't play scared. Let's start back in your youth. You know, the beginnings and whatnot. Did you play for your dad? Did you play in club baseball? How'd you get started, buddy?
Yeah, so obviously at the age of 3, my parents put me in baseball, basketball, and football just to see what just get a feel for what I liked the most. Chose baseball and football. I kind of favor baseball just a tiny bit more at that young age. I played for the St. Louis Sox. From I think it was maybe 6U to like 9U, and then I went to the St. Louis Gamers, and then I played with the St. Louis Force, actually one of the best teams I've played on, and then I finished with the USA Prime. And I definitely say I definitely took some lumps, but at the end of the day, it's a kid's game. I was having fun. It's the game I love the most, and as time went on, the recruiting process kind of started to jump too. So
very good. When you were playing what age were you playing with the Gamers? Was that prior to the high school ages?
Yes, that was age, I think it was 10 to 12, 10U to 12U. I had always played up a year. So 10U I was 9, 11U I was 10, and etc. So, wow. Yeah, it was definitely nice. I played with a lot of the guys that I played high school with. One being the Zon Zonatello. I played with him. I played with him on every team from the summer ball, the youth summer ball circuit to high school. So, yeah, a lot of that team.
Yeah, that Force team you guys had was faux real.
Oh yeah, we were pretty good.
Yeah, you beat up on a lot of folks. I remember that squad. Jake McGee was on that team too, right?
Yeah. Jake McGee was on that team. He's came back to C.B.C. We're gonna be pretty good this year.
Did he? Because he'd moved to Florida, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm sure Coach Horn's happy about that, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Got his one hitter back.
So this area back here is basically production. They do a lot of the artwork back here. They do the production. So any of that stuff that comes in off of, we'll say, our fanware stores, stuff that comes in off the team stores, a lot of the coaches wear, a lot of the last minute, hey, we got to have it in the next 10 minutes stuff. That's all comes back here. This area is where all the day-to-day stuff that comes in really goes through. The retail store is its own little entity. This is where the real work is done.
Yeah. Wow, that changes a lot.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I think so. We'll get to that here in a minute. I like that. A little nugget for you there, folks. So you're playing with the Force. You're getting youth baseball. You're moving into high school baseball. Who were the people that influenced you the most, in youth baseball, and how did that help you grow as a baseball player?
Just my dad, honestly. My dad, aside from family, definitely the coaches, Brad Boshin, Zach Zanatello, all those guys were real supportive. They knew what I was capable of, and it kind of gave me that push, that boost that I needed to, just to be successful. With my dad being my trainer, him being with me at workouts and practice and things like that, it kind of gave me that motivation that I can do this, and seeing a lot of the successful guys around me really helped as well. So I definitely say all the coaches that I've had in youth baseball then couldn't do anything without my father. My dad, he does so much behind the scenes, and he gives me all the credit, which I actually don't like because it's a lot of stuff that goes unseen that he does, and it's amazing.
When there's always the dynamic there that's interesting to me, and some, the struggles and whatnot.
Right.
Was there ever any tension between you and your dad, or did you always just kind of go, "Yep, let's go, Dad"?
Yeah, it was all like I kind of always followed his word. Anything that he said, I believed in. Obviously, dad and son have their little, back and forth after bad games and things like that. But there's been way more good than bad. I can't say anything bad about any of the memories and the moments I've had with him, from car rides home from practices and games to just us just being father and son. So it's never been any tension. We've always everything that he says, I've always listened very carefully. I'm gonna take that everything that he said forever.
Yeah, I always think, and I know it gets a bad rap, and it's tough because those things you want it to be you want it to be an experience, but there's always, I think, people of like mind like that, dad and son. I know it was with my son, both competitive people. So
Right.
sometimes, you're talking about things that can always sometimes things get tense just because I wanted my son to succeed, and I know your dad wants your son to succeed or you to succeed,
Right.
right? And so
Yes.
I think sometimes that happens. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a part of the process.
Exactly. Coming up into and I can't forget this. I always like to do this. Mom, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mom's definitely, her nickname around here is Superwoman. She does a lot of stuff. Never stops working. Always the workaholic. Always trying to get up and clean. We're like, Mom, just take a break, take a nap or something. But she's always working, and she's definitely a part of it. She's in my corner 10,000% every single day. I come home from workout. She's even if I have a bad day, workout wise or school wise, she come home the person I can talk to. She's my therapist, my best friend, my mom. It's just I can always count on her for everything. So I couldn't do anything without my parents in general, let alone my mom.
I feel you there, dude. I feel you there. When did she start making you wash your own uniform, bro?
What's actually funny about that is she still washes it because she doesn't trust that I'll do it the right way. She has like a whole routine where she sprays. Like my pants are always really dirty after games. She'll spray them down with the OxyClean or whatever, then throw it in the washer.
Give it to me. You ain't gonna do it right anyway.
Right. I tried one time. I had to go to a summer ball tournament without her, and that did not go well at all.
I love that, man. Love that. Let's get into that next step there, high school baseball. When you came into high school, evidently at C.B.C, highly
Right.
competitive atmosphere. Were you a bit overwhelmed?
My dad actually has been the one of the football coaches and the strength conditioning coach since 2012. So I had been around Coach Horn and the program for a really long time. I knew I was going there as soon as he got the job. So I kind of wasn't overwhelmed. I had a lot of high expectations for myself going into high school season. I met some of those expectations and I didn't meet others, but it was a great process for me. I can definitely say Coach Horn was extremely helpful throughout that process. Very understanding, gave a lot of details on why certain stuff happened. And just going into high school, I set a high standard for myself, and I feel like I did a good job of meeting those standards.
When you're setting goals for yourself, I think that's a process sometimes. Did you maybe, when you start that process, did you maybe shoot a little bit too high? Is that the process? How do you measure and gauge that?
When I set goals for myself, I go for the realistic micro goals that I can complete along the way that I feel like I'm good enough to achieve, and then the macro goals, the big ones. Obviously, like as a freshman, I was like, I want to make varsity, and I think that's what every freshman thinks of, and that I think that was a macro goal at the time. Um, but honestly, I feel like the small goals, dominating trials, doing this, that, and the third, getting called up to JV and things like that along the way is also what helps me as well. So I feel like the micro goals are way more important than the macro goal because without those, it's like a ladder with like every other step missing almost. You got to take it one step at a time and be able to trust the process.
I like that. That's smart. I really like that. That's an interesting perspective. I've had a chance to meet Coach Horn. He's been on the show a few times. Worked with him. He was gracious enough to come out and work with us on our Dad Coaches Clinic. What you said about him, he's very detail oriented, isn't he?
Yes, 10,000%.
How does that help you in preparing, and how did that help you grow as a player?
Just essentially like I always wanted to know like what goes on like in the coaches' heads when they make certain decisions. And when Coach Horn, when he makes a decision, he doesn't just tell you what he's gonna do. He tells you why he's doing it. So I feel like that part is really significant, especially when being a head coach and a manager. Like you have to be able to explain your decisions and your decision making, no matter if it's a good decision to some people or a bad decision. So I feel like he does a great job of just explaining his way of going about things, even sometimes when people really don't understand it. When once he explains it to you, it's like, okay, I understand why you did that.
Getting to high school, what have been the biggest differences, the biggest takeaway as far as differences within high school baseball and summer baseball, especially when you get to high school and you're playing those summers after high school in the recruiting process? What's the biggest difference there for you?
With me, summer ball was a big showcase. I mean, not really a lot of organized, no team ball going on. Everybody's playing for themselves. Everybody's trying to do things to impress the guys in the stands, and just essentially playing selfish, which I actually don't like. I like playing as a team, which is why Coach Horn does not believe in summer ball at all. He does not believe in that philosophy of playing the game. He's more like if our three hitter has to bunt, he's gonna bunt you. If it's a bunt situation, he's gonna do it. Like he's more of that play as a team, the old school kind of way. So that's what I really like about Coach Horn also, the way he plays the game. And also, I just feel like summer ball is like, with me playing on the prime, you got guys coming in from Cali, Colorado, Texas, Florida, all on the same team. Nobody really knows a lot of guys. Like a lot of great talent. You got this guy going to USC, you got this guy going to North Carolina, but they don't play as a team and they lose a lot of games. But when you look at high school, you look at a lot of guys who aren't going to those bigger schools, who aren't, probably not even playing college ball at all. They play so much more together and they win more games because they got that team chemistry and they play together and they play the game the right way.
Would you like to see more of that in the summer when guys
Yes,
are coming together like that?
Yes, because Coach Horn actually talked to a couple college coaches who say like that whole way of playing the game like it's summer ball isn't good at all. Like college coaches actually like to see you execute in games because they pay them to win them at the end of the day. So if my three hitters in a bunt situation, I'm gonna bunt him in college just like I'm gonna bunt him in high school. But if he's pulling off his shoulder, trying to go yard and press the scouts in the MLB scouts in the stands, I'm not gonna offer him.
Interesting. The recruit, well, and I think that's again, when you're taught, as you said, I think that's the great point. These college coaches, that's their livelihood. That's how they're putting food on the table for mama. And, you start doing that kind of stuff, the thought process is different. Although they do look at talent, I get all that. But I like the high school game over the summer game personally as well. I agree.
Right.
Now, when I see you've and you're wearing your Cincinnati. You've committed to Cincinnati. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Talk to us about the recruiting process for you. What was that like, and kind of walk us through that.
I was always the guy that was under the radar. I always had to work for everything that I've gotten, and it kind of was a relief when I was able to, crack that first offer. But at an early age, around freshman, going into my freshman summer and rising junior summer was kind of where the bulk of the recruiting process started. Or actually, no, the early stages. I would always get on the phone with coaches and have a great conversation. It would lead nothing but prospect camp invites, and I would go to the prospect camp, and in my eyes, I would dominate them, and they'd always say the same thing: "We'll stay in touch." And it just nothing ever came from it. But I never let that get to me. I continued to work with my dad and just kept my head down, kept plugging. And then this past summer. Nothing had really came over. A couple maybe low mid majors had reached out before, no offers still. And then WWBA came. That's when the portal closed, the draft was over. And that's the biggest tournament and the last tournament of the year. And since I had talked to a pretty high JUCO the game before since he reached out. And since he had DM'd me on Twitter, Coach Kyle Petarudo, love that guy. He DM'd me, said he wanted to get on a phone call. We had a great phone call that night. Said he was going to come watch me play at a high school at WBA in Georgia. I played that game. I think I went like 2 for 3. And that my out was a hard out. It was to the warning track, but the guy just, caught it. They were playing the shift also a little bit. Talked to him after the game. I was on my way home from a minor league game, and he called me and said, we're going to offer you. And I was pretty excited. It was just a big weight taken off my shoulders, man. Like every single day, all the guys that were around me were already committed or talking. I had offers, and they were just waiting for the right school. And it kind of went from 0 to 100 a lot, because after that, Kansas reached out. Kentucky thought about reaching out, and I went from none to something in that week. And then I've always had to work for everything that I've gotten, and I'm not ashamed of that at all. I feel like that's how it should be. So I'm definitely proud of myself, but couldn't thank my parents or my dad more, always being in my corner.
When you hear that on the phone, you're talking to the coach and he says, "I'm going to come watch you down in Georgia at this game." How do you keep yourself settled how do you keep yourself in the moment and not let your mind get away from you to where you can focus on the game and produce? Because you had that one shot, you go 0 for 4,
Right.
So there is a lot of pressure in that, isn't there?
Yeah, so in the moment when he told me that, I'm like, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. But once I got to the field, I have my own little ritual where I meditate and things like that before the game. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, as soon as I got done meditating, I'm like, just play your game. Like at the end of the day, if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. Like it's all in God's hands. So when you really think about it, you just honestly just have to play your game. That's the only reason they came to watch you, because of your game. So if you try to do any things that like isn't in your game, not the type of player you are, it's only going to lead to nothing but bad things. So I kind of just took that approach just to go dominate, to have that same like killer mentality going into the games. Like it's 1v9 out there when you're in that type of situation in summer ball. But yeah.
You sound a little like Kobe Bean right there, bro. Love that. You got through this. You're there. Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming season. You guys graduated some big-time dudes, of course. Nazan getting drafted. That was impressive.
Yes.
And, I liked Caden Peer, too. I mean, when we were there for that game, he hit a bomb off of Bogenpole. My goodness. Ball got out in a hurry, too.
Yeah, that was one of the furthest ones he's hit. He had all that season.
Ball was crushed. You had a good game. And that's what I said. When I saw you there, I was like, man, you stood out to me. You had a really good game. Playing defense, made some plays. You guys lost. Who's coming back? How do you feel about this season? Are people maybe sleeping on you a little bit too much?
I definitely think that they're underestimating us a lot. I mean, but it's only based of what we lost, and they
Mhm.
don't know the guys that we have coming up. And I feel like those sophomores and juniors we have, are hungry. We've had baseball workouts every Sunday for I think maybe 3-4 weeks now, and I can just see the way that they're working. They're hungry. They want more. They've been waiting for this moment for so long, just because they've had to sit behind those upperclassmen. And
Mhm.
I think we're gonna shock a lot of people. The motto for this year is "Why not us?" We're shooting for a 30-win game season, and I think it's gonna, as long as we continue to play together, we'll definitely surprise a lot of people.
Pitching wise, who are some guys that we should look at that you think are going to make an impact for the team?
One guy for sure, he's a returner. You got Tyler Weber,
Yeah.
big, tall, 6'5" lefty. You got Jake McGee. Jake McGee is going to toss a little for this year. Tyler Ellis, another returner. He's number 32, coming from last year. We got Logan Doyle. He's going to be on the mound. Just a lot of young guys, a lot of guys that are just going to throw it in the zone. I believe so much in our defense this year. So I feel like the guys that are going to try to overpower, they're going to try to overpower the hitters. That's definitely not going to work. So we just got to, continue to play lockdown defense like we've always done.
Jake McKee coming back and inserting back in that lineup is huge. Talk to us about some of the kids that maybe are going to have to step in and take some of those roles of Nazan and Pierre.
We got a young shortstop, Anthony Toko. Anthony Toko is going to do a lot of big things for us this year. Honestly, I think he was ready. He was kind of ready last year, but with Nas in front of you, like, you got to do everything perfectly. So it was going to be tough for him to start last year, but he's done a great job waiting his turn. Being patient. He's got an older brother that was on varsity last year too, so just kind of getting in his head a little bit, just to understand, like, this is what you got to do. This is how fast it is up there. Just be ready. So Anthony Toko is definitely one of them. Reed Hunter is another guy. He had a brother last year that was on varsity. He's probably going to be in the middle infield. GT Taylor is going to be probably be pretty good for us this year. A Mizzou guy.
Mm-hmm.
Big, athletic, physical kid. We've got a lot of young shockers that I think is gonna push that 30-win game season that we're looking for into reality.
And the MCC, my goodness, you got Vianney, DeSmet, Slew. They're all going to be good. They know cakewalks through the MCC, is there?
Not at all. Not at all. We seen it last year. We were kind of shocked. We came into the season heads high a little bit. Just expecting to dominate a little bit more. And those guys were the MCC is gritty. I mean, they're gonna come in. They're just gonna play. I think the entire mentality for the MCC is just like, it's baseball. Like, as soon if we're stepping on the same field, we're even. We're all even. And I like that type of mentality. So it's definitely gonna be some competition in the MCC. We've won it for the past, I think, 2 or 3 years, maybe even more. So I'm excited just to compete. I love competing, so it's definitely going to be some competition in MCC this year.
Well, our finale for the season, we're going to come back. We're going to be down at Jackson for that contest between you guys again. You're traveling down to Jackson's home field this time at the beginning of May there, and we're going to be down there for that because it was a great ball game last year. I'm looking forward to seeing. You want a little revenge there, don't you, bro?
Oh yeah, 10,000%. I despise losing. I don't like it at all. I don't like the feeling of it. But I mean, it was a blow for blow battle, and I think we held our own. They just made the plays that we didn't. Situations like that. Better. Just not. I wouldn't say the better team. Just it was a great matchup.
You guys, you think you got a district run into maybe the Final Four this year?
I thought we had one last year too, so I definitely think we're gonna have one this year. Like I said, the guys that we have this year are hungry. They have, like, the motto this year, "Why not us?" I think that's gonna carry us a long way because we're gonna go out balls to the wall, just trying to dominate every single game that we can. So I feel like as long as we keep that killer mentality of as soon as we step on the field, we're all even, nothing's going to get in the way.
I love it. I love it. Folks, Derrick Pitts. Derrick, appreciate it, buddy. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Of course, I'm excited. I was excited to be on here.
I appreciate it very much, young man. Hope we'll definitely catch up when we get down there. And hey, stay in touch. You got, text me. We'll keep in touch, watching what's going on here, and we really do appreciate it. Say hello to Coach Horn for me, would you?
Of course.
Absolutely. Folks, Derrick Pitts, Cincinnati commit, C.B.C. High School, one to watch here. Go check out C.B.C. I think they're gonna be tough to beat. I believe that, and this young man can play the game of baseball. Folks, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you very much. Remember, again, if you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. Hit that dinger next to it. It's what we do around here. We hit dingers, right? Exactly.
Right.
That gets you all your notifications for upcoming episodes such as this. We appreciate it. Everybody, have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. You got some advice for hitters, Derrick?
Definitely don't get too much in your head. When you step in that box, that head's got to be clear. You got to be ready to dominate. Make sure you have that approach and that plan. Stay confident in your swing. Don't try to do too much. Just have fun. It's a kid's game at the end of the day. Don't think much into it. Yeah, just, play your game. Don't try to do too much.
I love it. Good advice. We'll see y'all next time.